Hey everybody, here we are for another TechBiz tutorial. We're learning more about some Python. We're going to kind of extend what we have been learning about. We did some input and output, and we brushed on some kind of variables the last time we were on, so I just want to get a little more into variables. So I'm going to try to keep this one to be a short tutorial so we can hopefully learn a lot and have some things to practice and play around with, but it won't take too much of your time to watch because it's a lot better to create things than to watch and listen to me. So with the variable, there's different ways we can do this. So for example, we could say x is equal to 2 for a variable. If we wanted to, we could say price is equal to 4.95 for a variable. If we wanted to, we could say we could set something to greeting is equal to a word. All right, so there's a lot of different ways that you can do this to have it call for a variable in a program that we're writing. You can also say like x is equal to 5, and then we could say something like we could say x is equal to x plus 5 as well. All right, and then if I let me save this, and then if I went to print x and I go to run this in my command prompt, and I just called my test files here, my demonstration files test.py. So I'm going to type in py test.py, and then it puts the answer in there for 10. So you can put this down to change your variables as we go through the program as well. Or if I went through and I changed the second one here to 15, and I go to programs py test.py, and it's going to replace my previous one. So you know, it's important to keep all your variables, knowing when you use multiple ones, not getting them mixed up. And it is possible to overwrite the same variable definition with just a different value. So it is possible to do that. So what I wanted to show you, I typed this up, and I'm just going to paste it in here to save time so you don't have to watch me type through this. But this here would be an example of how you could use variables and the input and output that we learned from our previous tutorials to create a program that would calculate how much it would cost to paint a room if you're going by square footage. So my first variable here is first name, and it's equal to input, and then I put in please enter your first name in quotation marks with the space after the colon. So I always like to have that space afterwards, you know, so when you're putting strings together, you don't have all your words in without spaces. Then I have last name is equal to input. Please enter your last name. And again, we're using input on those because that's what the person who's using our program is going to type in. And then I have a variable for square foot, and we're going to set that as an input as well. And with this, we're going to say please enter your square footage. And then underneath that, I have a print string. So print command, print hello, and you'll notice I have a space after hello, and before the end of the quotation marks, then I put a plus first name, and then I have a plus with two quotation marks with the space in between those. So we have a space between our first and last name, and it says plus last name plus, and we have our command with the slash n to go on to a new line on our program. And then I set a variable here for cost is equal to float square footage. And I used float because we're going to be using decimals here since we're using dollars and cents, and we're going to type that in, and we don't want it to have an error. So square foot times 2.09. And then my last line of code says print the cost of your, and then I have square footage. And I should put a space after that. Okay, so the cost to paint your space, square foot. And then underneath that, I have square foot project is, and then I have the dollar sign, and then I have cost, and then I have a space, and then US dollars. Now these square foot and cost is wrapped up in commas, and that is so I can, in the same line of code, when it prints it out for me, I can have text and my my decimal numbers all in the same line without getting an error. Okay, so I made a few changes here, a few typos I noticed from before. So I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to go over here to pi test.py. It says enter your first name. So I'm going to say Mr. and your last name, Peterson. What's the square footage? Let's just say 250. And I'm going to hit enter. Hello, Mr. Peterson. The cost to paint your 250 square foot project is $522.50 US. So you'll see there's a few things I can change grammatically with it, but you get kind of the idea of what you can do. So again, this was how to use some different things to variables as variables, and then finding a way to put that together with our input and output demonstration from our first tutorial or our second tutorial, and showing us how we can make a short, brief, easy program that would help people figure out how much it would cost to do a project. Thanks a lot for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Play around with it and see what other kinds of programs you can make with similar features, and we'll talk to you on the next tutorial down the road.